Like 35 fucking rounds. Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course, with me, as always, is Mr. Bobby Blunt. Bobby, it is it's the return of the Mac. That's right, the return of the notorious Conor McGregor. Bobby, there's probably fight fans out there that have become fight fans in the last 5 years, 6 years probably. I mean, really COVID, you could say, that do not know what it's really like to be part of a Conor McGregor fight week. And I don't know if we're really experiencing that quite yet. I hope by tomorrow after the presser that we feel like it's a Conor McGregor fight week, but it is here for the first time in 5 years. A lot has happened in the 5 years. A lot has happened since even the last time out. Obviously, the broken leg, and then some. And here he is. It's finally returned. He is in the building. There was, I don't know. There was like some buzz yesterday. Oh, he's not here. He's not on embedded. He's not here on Monday. But he showed up yesterday, signing autographs, and the Mac is back. He was doing the presser and everything today. Your thoughts on the return of the notorious one?
Very loaded question. I'll try to keep it objective. Like the stuff saying that he wasn't going to show up. I did not make too much of him not being on embedded. Like the Dustin fights, I think he did very little embedded. Especially with like pay-per-view gone and stuff, he really has no incentive to sell anything more. He's getting kind of the same money one way or another. So like that part didn't shock me. As someone that was as pessimistic as anyone about this actually happening, I do understand it. But I kind of like had the feeling once we got to fight week, he kind of went through all the difficult stuff in the camp. So there really would be nothing to like stop the fight from happening. I think that's just, twittering, which, you get a lot of. And like you said, a lot of fans have never experienced what it is like to be with the McGregor fight week. I'm really not sure if they are going to like get that experience. Like even the people that are excited for it and really looking forward to his return, I feel like it's a lot of people trying to kind of put the nostalgia back in the tube. And, like for me personally, I've really never been a McGregor guy. So this might just be, I might be the wrong person to ask, but it does not feel the same as like random people asking me about this fight this weekend. I mentioned it to a few people. They had no idea he was fighting. But at the same time, like with the way the UFC does everything nowadays, they kind of are the commercial juggernaut. So they, don't need to do as much promoting and stuff. I mean, hell, when they announced this fight, it was handed to Dana White on a crumpled piece of paper, or wait, no, that was when my mistake. That's when they announced McGregor Chandler. When that finally got, I think it was at UFC 300. They hand him the crumpled piece of paper, and he's like, "Oh, we got Conor." This time when they announced it, it was more to kind of step on the MVP event, which you called take that H very well. Kudos to that. But you know, McGregor's perception definitely in Ireland has obviously changed because of his past. He's got a laundry list of kind of whether you want to call them legal troubles or woes. You know, there was the civil case that he was found liable on to Nikita Hand. That supposedly took place, I think, 2 weeks after the Khabib loss. But obviously, with the way court and stuff settled out, I think that settled in like November of 24 there. So, you know, there have been a lot of hurdles for him to get back. Obviously, he had the, you know, drug test suspension that they kind of used as time serve for him. So, you know, if you asked me 2 years ago, I was kind of under the mindset that I don't really think we see him back in there. Like, what else is there for him to kind of prove? But at the same time, now when you see his public perception in Ireland at such a decline, you kind of see why he is motivated to get there and fight again. Because he would probably love for people to be talking about him over there in headlines that are, you know, not related to his legal troubles. And especially like the stuff with like Paul Hughes. I don't know if you saw that graphic in Derry where they were showing a picture of Max saying "Do us proud" with the Irish flag. Those were people that were very alienated by Connor when he essentially tried to tell Paul Hughes that he was not Irish, and you know
Yeah.
that is a huge you know, civil debate that obviously we're not going to get into, but I could see why people you know, felt strongly in telling him to fuck off. So you know, it's the most telling thing to me has just been kind of how it's been promoted. There's been a lot of people that are just trying to put the, you know, nostalgia back in the tube, kind of go out of their way not to discuss the other stuff. And for me, it's like impossible to not talk about this event without talking about all that other stuff. It's kind of why I wanted to lead. I know we always do the main event last, but I did think it's why it was good to kind of start with the return because you know, he when he came off that plane, he looked every bit of 38. You know, he's been
Yeah.
out of the octagon for 5 years. The last when he came back with Khabib, he was on quite a hiatus with there. So I get the whole like mileage argument of though he has not taken that much physical damage in the
But it's
cage.
not like he's been training, like it's not like he's been reserving his body. No, this guy's been putting
Yeah,
his body through steroids. He's obviously had to rehabilitate a gruesome leg injury, which nobody has come back from. Right? Like this is it never. They've come back, but they've never been the same. Like Anderson Silva was never the same. Chris Weidman definitely not the same. You know, even you look at other sports, like guys who have had that same injury haven't ever really come back and been the same, right? George would be the closest one, and I don't know if like Paul George is even like Paul George of what he was before the leg break, right? Like he's come back and been a good ball player, but not like a perennial superstar like he was at that point in time when the leg broke happened. And here he is, like Connor. You don't get better at something by not doing it. He hasn't been in the octagon in 5 years, and he hasn't won a fight in 6 years. The last fight he won was in 2020 in January against Cowboy. And here he is, you know, 6 years later, had the two fights with Dustin. Now, some of that wasn't obviously some of the inactivity is on his fault, some of it not. Right? We know the UFC kind of put him on ice during COVID because he is the biggest superstar in MMA history. Like he may not be the best fighter, but he's the biggest superstar in MMA history. Everybody outside people know who he is. His name carries weight. He's the one guy that has been bigger than the three letters, right? He is bigger the one, and they've made sure that they've not done that right ever again. Hey, we're going to make sure that this person's not bigger than these three letters. The only thing that matters is these three letters, and that guy, and Connor was the guy who was able to break through that, and he's still that guy as far as the name value. Is he that guy in the octagon? That's to be determined. I don't think so. 2016, 2015 was when he was in his heyday. and that was a long, long time ago, Bobby. I mean, shoot, that was over a decade ago, and he's so it's not like you said, he hasn't just been laid somewhere training these 10 years. No, in fact, these 5 years, it's not like he's been. It's not like he was GSP, right? Who was in the shadows during his layoff, and we didn't know what he was doing. No, Connor was in the news, every 3 to 4 months, and obviously, it wasn't great news for him.
Yeah, and I mean, the damage he hasn't taken in the octagon, he's probably put more on his body in full in that time. And then not only that, like this game constantly evolves.
Right.
And I mean, even when he came back to when he fought Poirier, the calf kick became so like kind of involved in stuff there that kind of change things up. And now we're talking 5 years from that. So
and he's
it
fighting a guy.
is.
I don't mean to cut you off, but he's fighting a guy, Max Holloway, who is busy and who has been active and who has fought the elitist of elite, like been in multiple title fights, fought the best of the best. Even when he's not fighting 5-round fights, he's still fighting the best of the best.
Yeah. And I mean, you can kind of go, if you want to use the argument against Max for the mileage of being in there, like he's had 8 fights since Connor has been off. I think that's totally fair, but only one of those he really got like outclassed in, and he basically just could not get back up from the grappling. I mean, even the Ilya fight, a lot of people gave him that first round, and until Justin, he probably did as good as anyone did against Ilya. So he's not fighting like any slouches or anything, and I do think it is very telling that the UFC made the conscious decision to pivot off Michael Chandler. And it's like, no, you got 2 fights left. We are giving you the most difficult fight. I mean, prior to this, they were trying to give him Carlos Prates, which, I think would be kind of even more damning with the run Carlos himself has been on. So that's like kind of the interesting thing I've been looking for this entire fight week is just how this is going to play out, like with the presser. Are they going to be able to extend him prior to this fight? I put that at a very low percentage. But then there's the other argument. Are they just happy to take these 2 fights from him and then kind of let him walk? Because you saw what Rousey said, and they're not willing to pay top dollar. There's no question that they are here. That was probably the biggest part of the holdup. So is the UFC just willing to kind of take these 2 fights and thank him for his services and move on to something else? Because like you said, they've made a point to make sure that no star is bigger than those 3 letters. And McGregor has kind of been the exception for kind of the outside, like casual popularity. I don't want to say transcend the sport, because I don't think like he's really evolved it or anything like as a whole, but definitely has had the biggest pay-per-view buys in numbers, no doubt.
Right, and he's still the highest paid guy there is. Like, while he's not getting pay-per-view points, he's being well compensated, and on his new agreement, he said that they've kind of come to the middle where they were, and according to, I think, his manager today was on the MMA Hour and pretty much was said like, yeah, it's he's the highest paid guy in the UFC still, as he well should be, right? Like, there isn't that he is the guy that I do think he transcended the sport as far as eyeballs on the sport, and helped get deals, helped the UFC get sold to TKO/Zuffa, and then obviously helped the Fox deal, the ESPN deal, and everything else. And maybe the Paramount deal. Paramount obviously spent this money knowing they were at least going to get 2 fights on Connor's deal.
Well, I mean, that was like the most impressive thing I thought of the Paramount deal is they got $7.7 billion with 0 Conor McGregor activity. And they just wanted to make sure they got it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough because like I'm trying to be as fair as I can when I talk about this stuff because like I'm obviously not the biggest fan. I did find it very telling that the manager made it a point to say that he's getting paid like higher than the Zuffa guys. Cause like we always were talking about like what is the trickle effect going to
15
be?
billion, 15 million for Connor Ben, right?
Yeah. And I was saying I thought at bare minimum it was going to have to be higher than the number they brought to John Jones when they enlisted Turkey, which would have been 30. So, I mean, I would guess in between 30 and 40 million is probably what he's making for this fight, which easily would be the highest paid. But at the same time, that's just more me gauging what they told John because I don't see how Connor would be willing to fight for any less because he's done numbers that John has never even gotten close to touching.
Right, agreed. And here he is again. Like he was supposed to obviously fight Chandler 2 years ago, pulls out of that fight due to a broken pinky toe. And here he is 2 years later, back. It's just the inactivity. And he's fighting a guy, Max Holloway, the only guy that's on the roster that he's actually beaten. Everybody else that he's beaten is no longer in the UFC or retired. So that kudos to Max Holloway. And now Max can get the one back way back in the day. And Max is coming off the you mentioned, like he is coming off maybe his worst loss. Like, and it's not even like a bad loss. Like he lost to Charles Oliveira, like a legit number one type contender. A guy that the fight just didn't play out the way we thought it was because it was attached to a BMF. And Connor's not going to do that to Max. Like Connor could spend, the next 5 years in practicing jiu-jitsu and wrestling and would not be as good as Charles, at Charles in the ground game. I don't expect Connor to play that game, but if he was smart, maybe he would try it. That's what actually worked for him in the first one way back when, and he actually beat Max on a torn ACL at that. So I'm not putting Connor out, but I do think that his only chance to win this fight is to get an early knockout. And as we know, that's easier said than done against Max Holloway.
And it's because of that. I think actually Max is the one that should initiate the grappling in the first round. Like, take that left hand away. Just he has not fought in 5 years. Kind of just wear on him a little, test his gas tank. Now, to be clear, I don't think there's really a shot in hell that this is going to happen. I think Max is kind of more maintain the distance and watch the left hand. But, Max at boxing range only gets kind of better as the fight goes on. So, obviously, McGregor has never gotten a finish when it goes past the second round. So, I think because of that, if I think his cardio, like if he has 10 minutes in the tank, that's probably fine because that is his best chance to win this fight is trying to put him down in that first 10 minutes. So, um, with the miracles of modern day medicine and, the development with peptides and stuff, I don't want to like rule anything out. And especially with some of the, upsets we've been getting, it almost feels like it would be
right. This has
hard.
been the year of the upsets. Like the last
Yeah.
3, I mean, we've seen the upsets happen. Like we saw just less than a month ago, Justin Gaethje, shocked the world. Before that, Sean Strickland shocked the world. So like, yeah, you're exactly right. This is the year of 26 has been the year of the upsets in the MMA. Real quick, so the odds have initially changed now. So this says plus 170. A guy I follow on Twitter who works for MGM, he is McGregor opened up at plus 250, is now at plus 185. So 75% of the money has been on McGregor to win this fight. I do think that is the McGregor effect, right? The name, so people are pouring money into Connor.
Yeah, the public money, and I cannot believe this is not wider. Like if I was setting this line at bare minimum, I would have Holloway at a minus 350.
Right. I was thinking think 350, 300 at the minimum of a minus 300.
Yeah, and I would expect that to be, kind of bet up and probably close at like minus 500. Realistically, I think the closer and closer the fight gets, more money is gonna kind of play on Connor because people are gonna go for the nostalgia. But I mean, I don't know if you have the props up, but I was seeing that
Yeah, I'm
like
pulling it up right now, actually, as we're
it,
speaking.
if Holloway TKO is minus 110 or something, like close to even money, that is insane. That is
Holloway TKO is minus 135.
yeah.
The one I like, Bobby, is Holloway by decision at plus 450. I think this goes to. I might be crazy. The over unders like 2.5 rounds. I think it. I just think that Max drags him into deep waters, and then I just don't know if he can knock Connor out at 170 when he's not really drained. They're both guys are going to have to cut a little, but not a lot. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it could, there is like the weight to also take into consideration. That is, I think, the main reason Connor was able to sign on for this, saying like, well, at least I will be the bigger guy. So, I think all that is more than fair. Yeah, no, perfect.
Weight class is part of the reason why money's on Connor. Agreed.
Yeah. And that is more than fair. But like, I don't know, like talking about it going to decision, like with the deep waters thing, like Khabib, when he fought Khabib, okay, you could tell he was gassed and he was still able to put on a competitive round, which most people thought he won in the third round, even though I thought Khabib kind of hung with him in the striking there in that round. But I would be pretty surprised if this went to decision. Like if it did, I think that would be impressive on its own that he's able to go 25 minutes with Holloway. And
Yeah.
maybe I'm just not taking the to me, I think the time off just overlaps kind of Max not fighting at his weight class. But it is something that I don't want to be discrediting too much. And, that's a very fair point for the guy that left the comment that I didn't really think of. That could very well be why it's not as wide compared to if this was at like 155 or
155.
something.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot more, swollen up there. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, McGregor by TKO. So if you're going to bet McGregor, I bet McGregor by KO or TKO, and that's plus 250.
Yeah. I mean, that should be the money line. It was originally before people started betting it, but yeah, I would clearly bet him for the finish. I just with Max wanting to take him to deep waters, I would think I would say like third round TKO is where I'm at with this. Cause like I do think after the first 10 minutes of this fight, it's going to get very interesting. Like where Connor is at with his gas tank. Like if he looks fresh after the first 2 rounds, maybe he could go, the full thing. I'm not really trying to rule it out, but it's just the inactivity is where I just have a hard time believing that he could absolutely sustain 25 minutes of Holloway just putting the work on him there.
Yeah, I just don't know if Holloway can knock him out like Poirier. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that fight was at both those fights were at 155. So I just don't, even Nate didn't knock him out when they fought that. Both those fights, I believe, were at 170 as well. So I don't think that, I just don't know if Max has got we don't really see Max really like one knockout punch people. I mean, we saw it with Gaethje a little bit, but what I mean is just in a brawl he can, but it's usually after he's wore him down. So I do think it could go to decision. I kind of like Max by decision, but I could see Holloway knocking him out, getting him out of there. But
Yeah,
to be honest, yeah, go ahead.
like compared to when Max fought Poirier and went up at 55, there was like really no conditioning behind that or anything. He just went up and fought him, and he
The
had
first time, not this last time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that is kind of more than fair if you want to apply that same thing to Max for fighting at 170. I do think though that because of the conditioning, his power did kind of transfer up to 155. Now they have just a shorter time to do that to 170. But I guess it wouldn't be like the most shocking thing, but I just really think because of the inactivity, I have a hard time imagining it going 25 minutes. I mean, especially like the over under being at 2.5.
Yeah.
I think it's I think Vegas is just kind of in line with being like, well, if it's going to be longer in 10 minutes, this is going to be kind of interesting. And
I'm probably gonna. I do think Conor can get there to the third round. I'm gonna let me look here. What was the round betting? I was trying to see over under 2.5. So the under is -120. The over is -110.
yeah, and
So it's not even.
And I could see that going both ways as well, and like if there are really like monogamy props, like I would be looking at like takedowns. I assume that would be like a triple digit plus number, you know. But like you said, maybe with the McGregor, I do think with like the press conference and stuff, his number, like if you are planning on betting Max Holloway's money line, I would just wait until he walks out to the cage because I think more money will just continue to pour in on McGregor.
Yeah, I do. And back to the McGregor stardom, like real quick before we move to the rest of the card here. CBS did not do one thing on the White House, right? Like they didn't have the weigh-ins, they didn't have the presser, they didn't even have a fight on CBS. They are showing the fucking weigh-ins, like the weigh-ins on CBS, the ceremonial weigh-ins, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's how big Conor is. Like we're gonna show the ceremony. I feel like I'm surprised they didn't do the presser and more the ceremony weigh-ins because you get more of the shit talk and the selling of the card than at the presser than you would the ceremonial weigh-ins.
You do, but at the same time, those things are just so fucking generic with the terrible questions that get asked.
Yeah.
Now, like obviously, Conor is gonna do his part in selling it, but especially with Max and his trigger, we're gonna see Saturday night. I do think them putting the live weigh-ins will kind of create a little bit more hype, just with like the crowd and him stepping on the scale and stuff. And it does make sense for them to be putting that on linear television because the people that were not sold and maybe didn't get a Paramount subscription like to watch the White House, this might be enough for him to be like, okay, I'm going to check this out. Or a lot of people that still are on cable get Paramount Plus included, so they like still have the ability to watch it. But yeah, I do think that is a smart business decision for them to be putting that on Channel 2 because I would have to say that's probably the biggest promotion that they've done to promote a fight in the Paramount era.
Yeah, agreed. So you're picking Max. We're both picking Max, right?
Yeah. No, I think I would say third round TKO is where I'm at with it.
I'm gonna go Max by decision. There's something that tells me, and I'm probably wrong, and I'll probably sprinkle money everywhere. And anyway, and I'm gonna sprinkle some money on Conor by KO. I mean, I just feel like you got to, but I don't think it's gonna hit. But so I'm not gonna sprinkle a lot.
Do we get a point down at any point in this fight?
Yeah, I think Max will point down. I think in the 5th, if it goes that far.
Yeah. I figure you got to get at least one.
Yeah. Matt, and I think Connor will obviously oblige if there's much left in the tank. So I don't.
I think Connor would prefer the point down.
Yeah.
If you want to stand and trade, that would give him the best chance to, because say what you will about the inactivity. I think the power in that left hand is going to be the last thing to go.
Yeah. Let's move into we'll just work our way down the card, Bobby, to the co-main event. It's a huge fight in the lightweight division. It is the return of Paddy Pimblett, who's coming off that beat down that Justin Gaethje gave him, and well, I mean that down actually aged well. So, I mean, and he's taking on the surging Benoit Saint Denis. You see it, BSD 17-3, the favorite here at -150. Paddy, the slight dog at +125. Your thoughts here on the co-main? I mean, Paddy, both these guys flirting with the, kind of that title. This is almost a title eliminator. I think BSD could, if he wins this fight, could say, "Hey, I think Armin's next," but he could be the guy after Armin.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of this main card, I've gone back and forth with multiple times. Very good matchmaking for International Fight Week. We're not used to getting these kind of stacked cards on Connor cards. So I do appreciate their, giving us a lot to chew on in that aspect. And, initially when I saw this, I thought this is a very difficult bounce back fight for Paddy, especially since Benoit Saint Denis has gotten a camp and stuff. He seemed to, figure a lot of stuff out. And I don't know, like the more and more time goes on, and this really doesn't have much to do with the staff photos flowing around, because I know that's going to be a whole nother topic. But I do.
It'll be the second time he had staff. When he lost to Poirier, he had staff.
Yeah, no, eerie memories for sure. But I don't know. I go back to that Moyakano fight and take this with a huge grain of salt, because obviously those were one of the camps that he did not really have a coach for. And then I believe it was Moyakano that had the fucked up shoulders. So I don't think BSD had any ailment going into that fight. But the way Moyakano was able to kind of control Benoit Saint Denis on the ground, I do think Paddy is more than capable of being able to do that himself. I don't think Paddy is going to want to stand and trade with Saint Denis. Not that he won't be willing to, but I just think the easier avenue to him winning is kind of slowing it down and, grappling and trying to get a submission. But it's just really going to be where Saint Denis wrestling is at. Is he going to be able to, stop any of that? And I think the line is right on. To me personally, this is a pick'em. And 2 weeks ago, I was pretty confident in thinking that BSD would be able to get it done. But the more and more I think on it, I think Paddy is just going to be able to extend the fight. The longer the fight goes on, I would expect it to favor Paddy. And I think he's going to be able to get him on the ground at some point and get a decent amount of control. So though this one is a very close coin flip for me, I'm going to have to say I think the baddie gets back on track here. Give me Paddy.
Yeah, I am torn here too, right? I mean, BSD on a 4-fight winning streak. Both these guys fought in January. Paddy fought the first card of the year, and then BSD fought the second card of the year. And it's just BSD's bounced back since those back-to-back losses. The submission win over Hoofy, the K over Benil, and K over Dan Hooker. You're right. This is just a straight absolute pick 'em. I don't know who's gonna like. I'm having a hard time. We're gonna make a pick. I think you said so. You're riding with Patty. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
I'm taking Patty. But a week ago I was gonna take Saint Denis. So it's that much of a coin flip. But yeah, I do think I think I just trust Patty a little more like during adversity. I think he's really earned that with the Gaethje fight. Though he was losing that entire fight, he never really once gave up. B- that being said, it wouldn't shock me if BSD got it done early. But yeah, no, for my pick, I'll be riding with the baddie. I can
Yes.
only pick against Patty too many times without Julia giving me shit for it. So give me Patty Pimblett.
So BSD, here's the numbers real quick. BSD by KO plus 300. BSD by submission plus 300. BSD by decision plus 400. Patty plus 400 by decision. Patty by submission plus 500. That's probably
That's the
juice worth the
one.
squeeze. That's the juice worth the squeeze right there.
Squeeze that fucking orange until the skin breaks and all the
Yeah.
juice comes out of it.
Yeah.
Because that like if this does not go to the distance, like because granted it is a 3-round fight, not 5, I would expect it to be a submission.
Yeah. Fight goes the distance is plus money at 1+175. I think that's probably pretty good. I don't know. I mean, it's just I'm having a hard time with this fight because I think BSD, you mentioned, I don't think Patty wants this to stand. I do think BSD in the striking would be beneficial. And we've seen him kind of go, we've seen him in the wrestling as well. I mean, Moicano. So the over under on the round plus 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, the 3-round fight. Do you agree with Saint Denis being the slight favorite, or do
Yeah.
you see it like more as a true pickup?
I see it as a true pick 'em, but if you want to tell me that BSD is a slight favorite, I think so because he's on the 4-fight winning streak. The last time Patty was out there, just did not look like he belonged, and then I mean that has aged greatly, I guess you could say, because he took on Justin Gaethje, and who's now the champ, and I mean he got his ass beat for 5 straight rounds, but he didn't.
Hey, I'm sure Patty will be the first to tell you he lasted longer than Ilya.
Right.
And
Right.
I guarantee you he's probably already said that. I mean,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think the only person happier than Justin Gaethje when Gaethje beat Ilya was Patty Pimblett, because
Right.
they don't like each other,
Right.
and people were kind of already leaving Patty at the wayside and stuff. And I do find it very telling that they are having Patty be the co-main event with their quote unquote biggest star on the main event. Like it definitely kind of shows what because Patty is also like a fan favorite that transcends a lot of people outside of MMA because of his Barstool deal and stuff.
Yeah.
So I never thought we'd get to the point where we'd see both of these guys on a card together. So, like, my thoughts on Gregor aside, I do think that is kind of a cool moment that we're going to get back-to-back walks. Like, we're going to get the baddie entrance and then a Connor entrance. That is, like, special if, you can gloss over all this sexual assault stuff.
Yeah, I do got to make a pick, too. I'm just going to be different. I'm going to say BSD here by decision. So, give me BSD.
Full disclosure, I was very confident this was going to be the dog mask. So
now you got to be a little plus more than plus 125 to bust out the dog mask, Robbie.
I respect that. You given no a true dog. I respect that.
You can't. You got to be a little bit more than plus 125. I'd say plus 200 or more. Maybe 170. Or more. So. Let's get into the third fight, Bobby. and it is another absolute. This card. This is another, I think, a very close fight. Another stylistic. Mario Batista coming off the big win against Loke Dog. He is 16-3, slight dog here at plus 115. Corey taking on Corey Sandhagen. Last time we saw Sandhagen, I believe, was that the title fight? We saw Sandhagen last. I feel like there was one more. He's fought since then, but I can't.
I thought it was the Marab fight, but I might be blanking.
Yeah, that was the Marab fight way back October of last year. So almost, it's been a while since we saw Sandhagen, and obviously, you know, he's Sandhagen's 5 losses, and they're all the top elite guys. And here he is, Mario Batista, getting that step up. He's trying to get to the title. Why not fight the guy who just, you know, recently lost a title fight his last time out? 2 really good bantamweights. This is a rematch. Sandhagen won the first one, but that was a while ago. And here we are. You know, Batista was on the run until he lost to Umar. And in fact, these guys fought. When did they fight? Mario Batista, January 19th of 2019. So that's when they fought. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, I mean, almost like the McGregor Holloway one, you almost have to throw this out because of how much better both Corey and Batista have gotten. You know, Mario called for this when he smashed down Loke Dog. I'm glad they gave it to him. This is more than deserved. I love the spotlight of this being on International Fight Week. You know, this is a like worthy co-main event on a number card. This is a main event that you could take on the road. And I'm a fan of both guys. Truthfully, I do not want to see either guy lose here. Obviously, that is not how this game works. But you know, Batista just continues to get better and better. But we did see Corey kind of deal with the grapple heavy style of Marab, and he was doing a pretty decent job getting in and out, or at least being able to kind of get up. Now, granted, a lot of that was him kind of working on defense the entire time, but at the same time, the fact that he has like Trevor Whitman in his corner for this fight, to where I know he did not have him in his corner for that first fight all those years ago, I think that is a huge deal, especially kind of riding that Gaethje performance at the White House and stuff. And I just have full confidence that Trevor has been drilling him in all of these bad scenarios that Mario is trying to put him in. But like the keys to success for Mario is obviously pressure. Like he just wants to kind of move forward and pressure him, try to get Sandhagen's back up against the fence. But I'm sure Whitman and Corey are both completely aware of that. So I think Corey is going to be able to do a pretty good job at, you know, circling around. I think Corey should definitely be throwing some kicks to the body early, trying to, you know, wear on Mario's gas tank. And I do think I would see this fight a little bit differently if it was 5 rounds. But the fact that this is a 3-round fight, I do think Corey will be able to get the decision for it. However, because it is a 3-round fight, it would not shock me if Batista was able to get 2 rounds off him just with a mixture of the striking and the grappling. So this one is closer than the Patty BSD one as far as the pick'em in my mind. I mean, I could throw a coin up and would probably come to you know, different scenarios in each thing. But with what Corey showed me with his defensive grappling in the Marab fight and how he was able to deal with Marab's just constant pressure, I do think Corey will be able to get this done. Though I would not be upset with either guy winning here.
Yeah, Mario Batista is a very tricky fighter. Like, very tricky. Like, I know he got a lot of hate for the Aldo fight, like, you know, a couple years ago, seems to kind of slowly bounce back, but he's kind of, and like that wasn't his fault, right? Like he did what he was supposed to do to win the fight.
To speak on the lot of hate, they've put him in the rapist parlay because of the Aldo performance. Like Mario Batista has taken more flack than Conor McGregor or Gable Steveson. Like that just needs to be pointed out. And all he did was, hold him up against the fence and fight the right fight to win. But
Right.
he's very underrated and just continues to get better in each fight. And I do think for him, if he wins, I think he has every right to ask for the title shot next.
Yeah.
Definitely a stacked division. Like there's a line there, but he did not get enough credit in that Umar fight. Like he clearly lost that fight, but a lot of people look a lot worse against Umar. So, he is about as complete of a fighter as you can get.
Yeah, so here's the odds here. Sandhagen by KO is plus 300. I just don't see that really. Neither one of these guys I don't feel like is a knockout artist really. Sandhagen by submission plus 1,000. I don't think Sandhagen by decisions plus 150. So I do think if you're going to bet Sandhagen, you probably go ahead and do decision. I feel like Batista by decision plus 175. Batista by submission plus 1,100, and Batista by TKO is plus 1,800. So, fight goes the distance is minus 225. Round wise, the they don't have it here. Oh, I was trying to see all. Oh.
My only complaint with this fight, actually, with both these guys' styles, is that it isn't 5 rounds. Like my biggest fear is this fight is going to end and we're going to be like, damn, I wish we had 2 more. Cause I'm not even sure like really who won that. But, at the same time, I do like the showcase of being on International Fight Week for the 3. I'm not bitching about it. It's just my biggest fear in the conclusion is, damn, I wish we had another 10 minutes of this fight.
Yeah, same. I was trying to. I don't see it on here. MGM's being dumb. I was trying to figure out what the over/under round was for this fight, but I'm guessing it's probably 2.5, obviously. So I'd take the over.
I just blind guessed 2.5, especially if Vegas has 2-1 for it to or minus 200 plus to go to the decision there.
Yeah, let's move to the, I think maybe the fight of the night on this card, and that's Loner Kavanaugh taking on Brandon Royval. Kavanaugh coming off the big win over Brandon Moreno earlier this year. Royval coming off a loss, but this is a guy who's kind of fought the who's who and is kind of everybody in this flyweight division. Obviously, has fought for the title as well. And was kind of right there. Remember, he was kind of right there trying to get back until he lost to Joshua Van, has lost to Manel Cape. So he's coming off of 2 straight losses, one by the decision by Van and the KO by Manel Cape earlier. That was back in December of last year. And now he's taking on the surging Loner Kavanaugh here. I don't know why they got Kavanaugh 11-0, but that's I blame ChatGPT for that because I typed in just it was easy to copy and paste off of ChatGPT. But Kavanaugh obviously has a loss to our guy Energy. So fucking ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is disrespecting Charles Johnson. I mean, more than that gambling dipshit account on Twitter.
Right.
But yeah, that threw me off at first. I'm like, wait a minute, he's not undefeated. And yeah, this is I feel like a broken record here because I'm saying all these fights are compelling, but this is probably
this card is stacked. Like this card is really good. Like this card is really good. They put a really good card together.
Yeah, this is by far the fight I'm looking forward to the most. I mean, maybe that's just because I'm an avid flyweight enthusiast and stuff. But when they made this, I was like this could be the co-main event and I would be completely happy. And unlike the other fights, I think this is a perfect fight to have 3 rounds. I mean, both of these guys are pretty good at showing action. With Royval, I still acknowledge that he can have a bunch of competitive and fun fights. I just do wonder after that Joshua Van fight if we're slowly starting to see him slow down, and especially when he's fighting someone very young like Loner.
He's talked about moving to 135.
Yeah. And that whenever I hear that, I get a little bit concerned because I think, well, maybe the weight cut is a little bit too much or something like that. But I do think the odds are kind of correct here. Loner was able to go into high altitude on short notice and just completely have a masterclass performance against Brandon Moreno. So I do think he deserves to be the favorite here. But I mean, with flyweights, it is almost like a coin flip. We might think it's going one way after the first round, and it can, totally drop on a dime there. So I mean, I could really see this going either way, but with kind of the wars that Royval has been in, I mean, especially that Joshua Van fight where Joshua Van was finding success late in the fight. Um, I think I'm inclined to pick Kavanaugh here. I do think, you know, either guy, again, going to sound like a broken record, but I would be fine with either of these guys winning because, I mean, flyweight is just so deep. This is like the one division where these guys win and they're still going to need to take another fight to get a title shot.
Right.
But, this is kind of like perfect where both of them are at. I think, it's a good fight for Kavanaugh coming off the, short notice Moreno fight. And, this is a great opportunity for Royval to get his name back in the conversation. If you can beat the guy that just had a lot of success against Brandon Moreno, then maybe you should stay at flyweight. And I think based on the result, that's probably going to be, what decision Royval makes there. But no, for the gavel, I'm feeling pretty confident in Kavanaugh here. So give me Loner.
Yeah, you mentioned the Van Royval war. I always feel like when guys go to war like that, one guy, it propels one guy's career, and the loser of that war just doesn't ever really recover. Right? Doesn't feel like the same. And I feel like that's where we're at with Royval. See Roy or McDonald, right? Like that similar path. Like Roy was never the same. Obviously Robbie went on to have was still the champ, still won a few fights after that as well. So like Roy McDonald just was never the same. I kind of feel like this Brandon Royval right here is where like he may not be the same person, and has left it too much out and is now kind of getting chinny. Obviously coming off the knockout, we know Loner has that power as well. And speaking of of everything here, so Loner by KO is plus 225. Kind of like that. And Royval by KOs plus 400. Royval by submissions plus 600. Royval by decisions plus 350. Loner by decisions plus 125. So I do think the over-under here is 2.5 rounds. Under is plus 145. The over is minus 190.
Yeah, and I definitely understand the thought process too of is he going to be the same? The reason I'm like in the middle of that is for 2 reasons. Like one, flyweight does seem to be the division where you can dial back time more than any division, especially like the top is like riddled with these young killers and stuff.
Right.
And then also, I know it's in a different weight class, but like when you see like Justin Gaethje's resurgence and stuff. That's definitely like why I'm leaving the light on for Royval to get this done and win, even though I'm picking Kavanaugh. Like to me, this is equally a pick 'em, even though I agree with Kavanaugh being favored.
Yeah, at plus 180, I just looked at the rest of the odds, Bobby, and I'm going to actually go with my dog on the card and make him a raw dog, baby. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Give me Royval by decision, baby, at plus 180. My dog on the card. Make it a raw dog at that.
So, full disclosure, if Gable did not get bumped off the prelims, would Ellison have donned the dog mask?
Oh, absolutely fucking not. And we'll talk a little bit of the rest of the card here. But we open up the card with some fireworks. I mean, this will be a fun one as long as it lasts. And it is Terrence McKinney versus King Green. You see it, King Green, the slight dog at plus 110. Terrence at minus 135. It won't be a long one, Bobby, as we know Terrence McKinney is. And now there's a little beef here. According to King Green, him and Terrence were just like kicking it. And like he told Terrence, don't take the fight. Homies don't fight. And then Terrence called like 2 weeks later. Terrence says, hey, I'm fucking fighting you. Let's fucking roll. And now he's ready. And kind of pissed King Green off.
Yeah, I always take those type of comments with like huge grains of salt if it's real or not, you know, like they could just be trying to sell it. Very confident in saying you should take the under on this one, regardless of the winner.
So here's the odds. Just will the fight go the distance? No is minus 3,000. Yes is plus 900.
Wait, you're not joking? That's seriously the line?
Yeah, that's the line. Fight will go the distance. Yes or no? No is minus 3,000.
And what's yes?
What was it? Plus 900?
Could you imagine like playing that and knowing full well that it's gonna last maybe a round, but like the whole time you're just like, oh, well, maybe they get tired or something.
The over under of rounds is half a round. Over is minus 250. Under is plus 175.
Yeah, as it should be.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be pretty shocked if this made it to the second round. I mean, just the way, but you know, McKinney's pressure, Green just literally fighting with his hands down. You know, I think this is, as long as this fight lasts, it's going to be very fun. A perfect fight to open up this loaded main card with. I mean, there's some guys on the prelims that you can make arguments for are getting snubbed on main card, but at the same time, you can't really call it a snub with how deep this entire card is.
Yeah, this card is like what we've been saying. This card is pretty stacked. Yeah. So who do you like here as the opener?
You know, I keep going back and forth with this one too, because, you know, if I'm going off age, it would probably be Terrence. But then again, at the same time, we've seen Terrence obviously not shy away from like getting into a brawl and him having success early and then it not working out for him in the end there. He does have jiu-jitsu as well. So like maybe he can, you know, hurt Bobby and then you know, go for a finish. But I don't know, like I'm inclined to pick Bobby, but just knowing like Terrence's pressure and stuff, I think I'm a little bit more confident in picking McKinney, even though this is just like a glorified car crash for however long it lasts.
Yeah, it is going to be a car crash. So Terrence by KO or TKO is plus 150. by submissions plus 250. For King Green by KOs plus 200, which is live. And decision by, I mean, King Green by submissions plus 650. I don't think we're going to see a decision. As we know, Terrence McKinney fights don't get off the out of the first round. Somebody's probably going to sleep here. And I think, I don't even know, just because I just feel like I'm gonna go to T-Rex. Give me T-Rex in this one, Bobby. But I wouldn't be surprised if King Green wins this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, very unlike the White House card, the matchmaking on this has been pretty on point for the main card as far as competitive fights. So you gotta give them some credit on the matchmaking for this.
Yeah, you mentioned the rest of the card, Bobby, and it is the rest of the card is stacked as well. You have Nikita Krylov versus Robert Whittaker, and Bobby Knuckles is making his light heavyweight debut. You have Gable Stevenson making his UFC debut against Alicia Ellis, and then Gable's obviously the biggest favorite on this card. You have Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez, which I think is a fun one as well. And you got Luke Riley versus Kai Kamaka III. You have Tracy Cortez taking on Wang Kong. That, for some reason, that fight's a pick'em. I'm a little surprised. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, that's kind of it. But the card is really stacked here.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely bummed when Ethan Ewing fell out. I was really looking forward to him and Basharat. And you know, Garza, at least he's from Dallas, so he's more or less traveling locally. There's not like some crazy time jump or anything, so that should be interesting. And yeah, Wayne Kong and Cortez, I think that that fight fits with the rest of this card. I think that should be pretty entertaining. Got No Love and Yanez on it there. The one that I don't want to say I'm not sold on, but I'm just not sure what we're getting is Robert Whittaker versus Krylov. I just am not. I do think this is probably the best opening fight they could have gave Whittaker to have him dip his toes into 205, but moving up in weight this late in his career, I'm just not sure why it's not sitting well with me. Maybe
it reminds me of like Luke Rockhold moving to 180, like 205 or somebody like that. Like it's like, I get it, but I don't see a future here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and is it just, does he actually want to compete for a title, or is he just trying to get a win back, in the different division? I would say at least it is the more shallow division, but with Whittaker having fights at 170, I just really wonder if this is going to be a little bit too big of a jump, size wise. Like you saw how Pereira struggled with heavyweight, and who's to say that same thing can fall back on Whittaker there. But I'm sure when the fight happens, I'll enjoy it. It's just the one that I really just don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, I do think Bobby probably wins this one. I do think because, and he's a slight favorite here at minus 140. I do think he probably wins this one, but I'm just not too sure like what the future looks like here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is like what the division though, like if he does get a win, there's a handful of fights I'd still be comfortable like matching him up with, but I don't think I would be a fan of like having him fight the winner of Angalaev or Roundtree or something like that,
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised so the fight will go the distance is actually positive at plus 120. And I really do feel like that's probably what this goes. And it's got Whitaker at plus 200 by knockout. Whitaker by decision is plus 250. Krylov by decision is plus 400. So I do like it. I think it kind of goes the distance, really.
I would be expecting it to go to decision. And unless they want to blitz is the other one. In only a 3-round fight, Whitaker's used to having a lot of fights that are 5 rounds. I would expect it to go to decision. And we definitely have to point out the elite matchmaking of the UFC booking Penis back to back with Wang. That is just elite trolling UFC.
Yeah, you mentioned Gable Stevenson. I have high expectations eventually. This fight, my expectations are he should handle business pretty quickly. The over-under rounds is a half. I expect that to hit I do think he should get the person out of there in the first round. But, Ellison, we'll see. Gable is obviously the biggest favorite on this card, and we'll see what happens there. What's your expectations here real quick for wrap up here?
I mean, I'm wearing sandals right now, so I can't even tie my shoes for this breakdown. If I'm to pitch the case for Ellison, okay, he trains with Waldo Cortez. So at least he's kind of with a gym that semi knows what they're doing in these moments and stuff. My problem, though, with it is that in the past, Gable only has 3 fights. But he has been willing to stand and trade in those 3 fights. But like in the last LFA fight, he got caught with a spinning wheel kick. And obviously it showed us that he had a chin at least. But I don't think he takes any risk in this fight. I think he knows he made it to the big show. And do you think John Jones would be in his corner?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think there's any chance where he's just like, show him what you got in this first round. I think it's going to immediately be pressure and chain wrestling. But at the same time, like, nobody should be a minus 2,500 in heavyweight MMA with
he's minus 3,000. He's minus 3,000.
That is fucking retarded. I'm sorry. That makes no logical sense whatsoever. And like, granted, he probably is going to win. And then people will be like, well, this is why he was a minus 3,000. But, he could slip on ice getting into the ring. He could,
He could be like, oh, buddy, what was that? The dude from PFL that stepped on a fucking, like...
Yeah, he could Cedric Dubé himself.
Dubé, yeah.
Step on his thing. He could trip on his way to the octagon because he doesn't have his shoes tied. Oh, wait, no, that actually wouldn't be true because he's the king of loopholes. So the shoes will definitely be tied. Don't worry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But,
well, the ladies might need to think about that, Bobby.
They absolutely should, because they'll probably change, legal legislation to, ensure it. But yeah, obviously this is a showcase fight for Gable, so like he needs to perform like a minus 2,500. A decision ain't gonna cut it.
Right.
He needs to absolutely finish him. I would expect for him to be able to get him down and finish it with either ground and pound or get a submission in. Like, if you were to tell me the over-under would be a half of a round, I would probably agree with you. It will get interesting if he can stop, if Ellison could stop any takedown. But I just think that they're going to be, even though there's not much tape on Ellison, I think they're going to understand the spots they can get in and they can't. And this is going to be just very risk averse, get in there, get out untouched, and collect your money. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, for the future for him, I think they're gonna have him on the Bo Nickel kind of training wheel program for quite a while.
I
I
just don't know
don't
if there's
think.
that many heavyweights that you can match him up with before you know. There's a
Don't,
lot of middleweights that Bo can fight.
don't worry, they'll sign him. They'll. I expect them to bring in a lot of guys to match him up with. I do agree. Like at heavyweight, this is the example. But I'm sorry, I cannot get with like the New York Rick takes of, oh, if he fought Cyril Gahn, I would heavily favor Gable Stevenson. Like that just sounds like some wild homerism. Like I'm not
Yeah.
trying to shit on Rick or anything, but like and this is gonna sound weird coming from a guy that despises Cyril Gahn. But let's put a little respect on Cyril Gahn's name, even if he doesn't deserve it because he's a filthy fucking cheater.
Agreed. Any final thoughts on the card before we get up out of here, Bobby?
I think we pretty much covered it from top to bottom. The card in general will be fun. I guess final thoughts in unrelated UFC. There was the BKFC Liberty card last week. It was fun for what it was, but Homeboy decided to walk out to the do the Apollo Creed entrance, and
Saw that.
it ended about as good as it did for Apollo Creed in Rocky 3. That the shot in the arena. I was coming back from sushi.
That was Rocky
so
4. That was Rocky 4. Rocky 4.
Oh, yes, good shout because of the 2 in Clubber Lane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for schooling me on the Rocky history.
No problem.
But yeah, in the end, it was
he
the
dies.
same.
He dies.
But like that shot, like because he got dropped early, but then that second shot, you just heard that echo through the arena, and that was the one of probably the loudest like shots I heard in BKFC. But the one thing I want to give, I don't know if it's like credit is the word, but they're doing this contender series light thing where they're having a 1 2-minute round fight. And they kicked it off on this thing, trying to make it's going to be a tournament that they're doing. Now, if they're smart, they'll use this for like social media clips because you can essentially put the whole fight on, the clip there. But, credit to BKFC for continuing to do different stuff,
Yeah. Hold on. Wait. I want to comment. Okay, cool guy, Blue Jay. Anyway, that's you don't even put me up to this comment here. Well, anyway,
put it up. It deserves to go up.
I just, I don't think. Hello to the 2 hotties. I'm a straight white man, 44 years old, 300 pounds. Okay, well, all right. So, so are we.
I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy the fights, Blue Jay. Great comment.
Yeah, enjoy the fights. Nonetheless, enjoy the fights. Enjoy Conor McGregor. I mean, we don't have too many Conor McGregor fights left. Just
however you want to enjoy it. Enjoy the Conor McGregor fight. Enjoy the Elite Hate Watch. However anyone wants to watch this, I'm not gonna judge people for their own personal opinions on how they're gonna enjoy it. If people want to try to put nostalgia back in the tube, I get it, even though I think it's all kind of
the ultimate drug, Bobby. It's the ultimate drug.
But so the best way, and I'll close with this, the best. Oh, he's asking if I think Gabe will be champ one day.
Yeah, I think so. I do think that.
I think he can be, but I do not think it will be in the next year or something. But he definitely could compete for a title. But I do think we're a long way away from that, even with how shallow heavyweight can be, especially just at the top. Like I think today, like if he was fighting Josh Hokett, I would heavily pick Hokett in that fight.
Same. Hokett's on the feet would tear him up.
And like to close on the Conor thing, like with the nostalgia, this reminds me a lot of like the Harold and Kumar #4, like a bad sequel that is just a cash grab. I've gotten more of that feeling than we are about to witness an elite masterpiece here. So I might be wrong, but we'll see what we get and definitely, break it down next Wednesday. I'd be more than happy to be wrong with this, but I just think 5 years being off, even with all the peptides, might be a little bit too much.
Yeah, I've been saying it. You don't get better by not doing something, and it's hard to wake up. Get punched in the face when you wake up in satin sheets. So he's waking up on satin sheets on a fucking $1 billion yacht. So, no hate here though for Conor on that part. There's a lot of hate to be going around for him, but I'm not hating about the man having a lot of shit ton of fucking money because I wish I had the same. But we will be back next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, and we'll be talking and breaking down the results of the fight. We'll look also at UFC OKC, headlined by none other than Dricus du Plessis and the returning of Kamaru Usman. So, all right. Hey. Be drunk on a good Wednesday, Blue Jay. That's great. So cheers to you. So
hell yeah, have another Blue Jay.
Yeah, have one for us. Be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. We'll see you back then. For my guy Bobby Blunt, I'm Bodkins. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the fights.
And tie your shoes.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.